Welcome to Hike Over the Hill. I am Jedi coming to you from the thriving metropolis of Rochester, New York. Getting tired of me saying that? You probably are. I'm going to show you a couple things here gear-wise. This is gear talk. I'm leaving for the AT tomorrow. In fact, it's like 4:30 on Thursday. In about 15 hours, we'll be driving away. In any event, these are my trekking poles. These are Pure Outdoor brand. I got these from monoprice.com. I've used Monoprice's hiking poles before. I had another pair. It was a $30 pair, and they work great. I used them on the Trans-Catalina Trail and the section hike of the AT, I think my other section hike of the AT. In any event, I bought a new pair. They came out with this new version, which has it has the foam grip down low, which I like because when you're hiking, you know, you're using the cork grip, but then if you're going uphill, the poles get longer because you're putting them at ground that's above where you are because you're going uphill. So you can choke down on the trekking poles without having to adjust their length. So I love that feature, being able to choke down on it briefly while I go up a steep section and then back up to the cork handle. They also upgraded these little clasps, these clips that, you know, this is what you have to open to extend the trekking pole. Then you clip it and then it's, you know, locked in place. These used to be plastic and now they're aluminum, so that's great. And oh, the strap is better. The strap is a little more adjustable. I didn't like the hand straps on the other one. These are better. They're not perfect, but they're definitely an improvement. And I have put, I don't know if you can see this because it's dark gray, but right here, this right here is a piece of duct tape. It's a 12-inch piece of duct tape I wrapped around there. A lot of hikers put duct tape around their trekking pole. I would recommend against putting your Luco tape around your trekking pole because that will absorb water more so than I believe the duct tape will. I also have up here, you probably can't see because it's right up against the foam grip. Let me try to slide it down a little bit. There it is. This is, you can see, you can probably tell that little metal thing right there. That is a hairband. You know what women use for their ponytails? I have one of those on each pole. This one's right here. I find that those come in handy sometimes because they last longer than rubber bands. Rubber bands have a tendency to break easily. These don't as often. They can break, but they seem to hold up a little better. So I just keep one around there in case I need an elastic cord for something, for whatever purpose. And then I have the trekking tips on here, the rubber tips, which I try to use. I have mixed feelings about them. They're good on rocks. They're good on pavement, of course, if you're going to be crossing roads a lot. And you know, better than the carbon or carbide, whatever that is, that tip. I put this orange tape around it because these have a tendency to fall off, as you can imagine. It's just a rubber tip. There's nothing holding it on. And that's one beef I have. I think they should make these screw-on. They could very easily put threads around here and let you screw these rubber tips on and any other accessories you want to add to your tip. But I put that orange tape on, that fluorescent orange tape around there so that they'd be easier to see if I drop them or they fall off. And then I've added on this pole, this is called the stick pick. I don't know if you can see that right here. This is what I will use for selfies. So this little screw here, I can mount my little phone holder. So I can put that on there. I can mount my phone there, and there's a little, well, I can't show you because it's on the phone. That's what I'm filming this with. There's a little hand strap like you would see, you know, the old Instamatic cameras. You have a little wrist strap. It has one of those on there, and I can wrap that wrist strap around this so that if the phone should fall out, it's not going to fall into the mud or on a rock or something and get damaged. So then I can, you know, hold this out and I can, you know, shoot selfies. So while I'm hiking with one hand, I can be shooting myself, and you'll see that in some of my videos when they start coming out in the next couple of weeks. So that's called the stick pick. And now on to my miscellaneous bag of goodies, and it's actually labeled miscellaneous because it's not electronic stuff, it's not first aid stuff, it's not, you know, cook stuff, it's just other stuff I need that I just don't have anywhere else to put it. So this is my catch-all bag. This is a light load towel. I've shown you those that I use in my cook pot to keep things from rattling around. This is a bigger one though. This is you can see it's been, you can see how old it is. I've been using this for 3 years and it's still going strong. I typically just use this to wipe condensation off the inside of my tent because I have a single wall Dyneema composite fabric tent and they don't breathe that well. So if it's humid or you're, you know, in conditions where there's a lot of condensation, the inside walls of the tent will be dripping wet in the morning sometimes, so I keep this in my little rainbow roost at the top of my tent, inside the ceiling. And I pull it out in the morning. That's the first thing I do before I even sit up in bed. I just take that and I start wiping down the walls. And then once this gets saturated, I open up the door, I squeeze it out outside the door, and then just keep wiping the walls. I wipe down the inside of the tent. I don't want to carry that extra weight, and plus it's not good for the tent to have all that moisture. Next up, my Appalachian Trail passport. This is probably silly, but I thought it would be a cool memento of my trip. It's literally a passport. It works like a passport, so you can see it's got the little blank pages in there. And there are businesses along the trail, including hostels, post offices also. You can get this stamped. They have a unique stamp, and the guidebook I have will tell you, does this location stamp passports? And so I have this. It's protected in its own little baggie, which I may discard. Probably overkill having it, double bagged. But I just thought, this would be kind of a cool thing. I don't bring a journal, so I'm not going to have any writings, but I can get this stamped wherever I go that stamps those things, and I can have a little memento. This is just an extra shock cord with a cord lock. It's just in case I need a shock cord for some purpose, or my other shock cord breaks. This is a pair of Booties. I talked about this on another episode. These are plastic bags shaped like feet that I can put on over my dry socks. And I talked about this before. I get into camp, my shoes are wet, my socks are wet, but I want to put on dry stuff and do my camp chores, or just for the night, I want to keep my socks dry. I can take off my wet shoes and socks, dry my feet off, put on dry, clean socks, put these little Booties on over it, and then put my wet shoes back on, and this will keep my dry socks from getting wet. That's the idea. A little thing of tissues. I have some I'll keep in my fupa, which I talked about in another video. That's the front utility pocket accessory, or front utility pack accessory, I guess it's called. Tissues, I have allergies, and in the morning I'm usually kind of stuffy, so that's what that's for. This I just threw in. We happen to have these laying around. I said, what the hell, throw them in. Hand warmers, I'm almost certainly not going to use these, and I'll probably discard them fairly soon, but it could be very cold the first few weeks up in the Shenandoahs, so we'll see. My earplugs for the night, little foam earplugs. I've got them in their own little baggie to keep them clean. This is just a regular old grocery plastic bag, which they don't use anymore because they were outlawed essentially in New York. So I have a supply of these, and I use these for my shoes if I have to put my shoes inside the tent, and even sometimes if my shoes are outside the tent, just so my shoes aren't sitting in the mud and the dirt, or if it's raining, it just keeps my shoes. It also keeps little critters from getting into my shoes, or I hope it does. This is a Cork Ball my wife got me for massaging. So you put it down, you put your foot on it, you roll your foot out real good on it, or you can put it down, put your leg on it, and kind of roll out your leg muscles, your thigh muscles, your butt, your glutes, your back. You can put it against the wall of a shelter or anywhere, any wall or a tree even, and roll it up and down your spine. So I think this weighs about 2 ounces. That's another thing that it's great to have, but if I'm really looking to cut weight at some point, that will probably go the way of the Dodo. 2 lengths of paracord. This is Lawson equipment. This is reflective. It has reflective wire in it, or thread in it, I guess. So at night you hit it with a headlamp and it lights up like a friggin' Christmas tree. It looks like the San Francisco, bridge there. Golden Gate Bridge. These are 10-foot lengths each. I would use these for like laundry line if I need to hang things up to dry when I get to camp. Or I could use these to put my tent into what's called porch mode, and I won't talk about that. I'll show it to you at some point during my trip. I also have in here a little sewing kit. This is a Z-Pack sewing kit, so it's got this little self-contained plastic container, and you pop that open like that, and there's some thread in there, and there's a little curved needle. It's curved, so it makes it easier to do like this. And so you can sew up a rip in a pair of pants or whatever. Little tiny sewing kit. I have in here my Victorinox little knife. I love these things. I keep one of these on my keychain just in my day-to-day use. This one is a glow-in-the-dark one. I won't be using the glow-in-the-dark feature because this will be inside my pack, so it won't be exposed to light. But I thought it was kind of a cool idea. You could expose it to some light, and then at night, if you have it in your tent, you can see it glowing in the dark. This has a few features. It has a knife in case you need to cut something, like maybe a piece of cheese or something. I don't know. It also has a nail file, right? And that nail file on the end, it has a flathead, so that you can use that like a screwdriver. You can tighten something if part of your gear has a screw in it. It also has the thing that I use the most is the little scissors, right? A little pair of scissors. I use these freaking scissors all the time. Everything from cutting, you know, a little flap of skin on the edge of your finger to, you know, pieces of thread or paracord or whatever. It also has a little toothpick in the end, a little plastic toothpick. This always gets lost. I have like probably 3 or 4 of these knives, and none of them have the toothpick. So I'm expecting that to disappear at some point. And on the other side, it has a little pair of tweezers. I've never really found them that useful. I wish they were pointy, so you can pick up you can get a tick out. Then I wouldn't need the tick card potentially, but those are in there. A little pair of tweezers if you need them. And then I just tied a little piece of very bright, you know, neon yellow cordage so I can see it better, and I could, you know, clip it to something or tie it around something if I needed to, so I don't want to lose it. And then speaking of that cord, I brought a little extra length of it in case one of my zipper pulls, you know, falls off or something. Just a little extra supply to repair things along the way. I have in here an extra bottle cap from a smart water bottle because my smart water bottle has a flip top spout, and that may break, it may crack, it may, you know, fail, it may stop working well, it may start leaking, whatever. So just an extra bottle cap is always smart to have with you. This will also fit on my CNOC water bladder and on my I think it'll fit my Evernew 1.5 liter collapsible water bottle. I have in here a little pouch, a little Ziploc bag of gear repair patches. So there are a couple different things. There's Dyneema composite fabric adhesive patches, and there's tenacious tape in here. So just a little thing of repair tape. This is trail marking ribbon. There are 2 little rolls of it in there, all rolled up really tight in this little baggie. Trail marking ribbon is actually really useful. These are each about 1 foot long. Okay, it's just a thin plastic. It's like you can see how wide, about 1 inch wide plastic, or almost like vinyl, very thin vinyl feeling trail marking ribbon. So what I will do is, when I go to hang my Ursack, and I don't want to forget where it is, I will, you know, find a spot where I want to hang it away from camp, and I will tie one of these at 1/3 and 2/3 of the way toward the Ursack from where I'm camping. So I start to walk, and, you know, I find a tree I like, and I look back at, you know, where my campsite is. Okay, I see the campsite. Hang the Ursack, because the Ursack might be on the other side of the tree. You know, I might not be able to see it from my campsite. So I will, as I walk back to camp, I'll judge about 1/3 of the way. I will tie this to a branch of a tree or to a real small sapling, you know, just to mark, hey, this direction. And then I will go another, you know, the other 1/3 of the way, so 2/3 of the way from the Ursack back to camp, and tie the other one, so that when I'm at camp, I can look, okay, where's my trail ribbon? Oh yeah, there's the first one, and I can walk toward that, and I should be able to see the second one, walk toward that, and then I know, keep going in that direction along that line of travel, and I will find my Ursack that way. The other thing it's useful for is if you have to go off the trail to use the potty, or not the potty, but just go in the woods. You don't want to get lost off the trail going to the bathroom. Someone has actually died doing that, by the way. In fact, there's a book written about her called When You Find My Body. She went off the trail. She was on the Appalachian Trail. She went off the trail to go to the bathroom, and she could not find the trail again. She went too far off the trail, and she didn't know which direction to go back. She lost her way. Luckily, she had her pack with her. She did survive for 4 to 6 weeks, I think. But how tragic is that? You know, she must not have had a whistle, and she definitely did not have a GPS device. This was before the days of the Garmin InReach Mini, but it's just a horrible story. She was in her late 60s, I think, doing it in retirement, and this could have saved her life, having a couple of these pieces. Hey, I got to go to the bathroom, and, you know, there's a lot of open woods here. I want to go deep in so nobody can see me from the trail. Okay, great. Tie one of these, you know, take, you know, 30, 40 steps, tie one of those to, or tie one right by the trail. First of all, try one right near the trail, so, okay? And then walk 40, 50 steps or whatever, and look back, and can I still see the ribbon? Oh, I can, good. I'll tie this one on this tree. And then you can walk a little farther. Make sure you don't walk farther than you can see your trail ribbon. Anyway, weighs next to nothing, and it could save your life. I highly recommend you bring some trail ribbon. Against my better judgment, I brought a little mirror. I don't like those little metal camp mirrors. They're not that good for like looking at things. Like I sometimes have to look into my eye because, you know, I have allergies, or I actually had a bug fly into my eye on our last trip together, my wife and I, on the Cranberry Lake Trail. I mean, I literally I saw the bug like come right at my pupil. Like I had no time to react. It just dive bombed. It was like a kamikaze bug went into my eye. So I like a mirror to be able to see, you know, in my eye if I need to put eye drops in or I have something in my eye, or also for tick checks. I can see parts of my body that I can't see very easily, you know, including places I won't talk about. But I put some duct tape on the back of this because this is a real mirror. This is real glass with a silver backing. And if this breaks, I don't want shards of glass and mirror, of course, in my backpack. So this duct tape along the back will hopefully hold it together if it does crack, and then I can discard it, you know, put it in my trash and throw it away when I get to town. And last but not least is an item that is the whole reason I'm taking this hike. So this is my dad. This is an machined aluminum container with a gasket. It is light proof, waterproof, oxygen proof. Nothing is getting in or out of this. I've also taped it shut because this is my dad, or some of his remains, his ashes. And I've actually labeled it human cremains. If found, call, and I have my cell phone number and my wife's cell phone number. This is going the whole way on the trail with me. I will be burying or scattering half of it on Mount Katahdin somewhere, and I will be very discreet. I will make sure it's far away from where anybody could possibly encounter it. And believe me, I will be very responsible. And I will carry the other half all the way back down to Springer, Georgia, where I'm ending, and I will bury the rest of it down there in Springer. So part of Dad will be at either end of the trail. Part of him will have traveled the entire trail, and he will forever be incorporated into the trail at either end. So that's it. Thanks for watching.